Hey guys, and welcome back to another flight for Alex's Flying Club. Today we're going to be flying in Illinois. I do have pilot edge comms in the background just for the heck of it. I know it's not very kosher, but I'm flying on VATSIM, but there are no controllers online, so I am just listening to what's going on pilot edge. So let me turn that back on, and then I may have to pause it like I just did right now a couple times in the stream, because I want to go over my flight plan and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump in. We've got ground power turned on in this beautiful DC-3, and we're going to be taking off from Janesville Airport today in Wisconsin and flying south through most of Illinois to... where are we flying to? Mount Vernon Airport in Illinois, southern Illinois, right pretty close to St. Louis. So that is the plan. Let me turn pilot edge comms back on.
Josh approach air
172 11,000 feet call.
6182 Golf, so start thanks with this com, runway 29 clear for the option.
Clear 40 option runway 9, 6182 Golf.
King Air 4405, Josh approach Palmdale altimeter 3015.
3015, King Air 4405.
LS clients again.
Let's jump in the cockpit. Let's get this aircraft ready to be fired up. This is the version 2 of Manfred Jahn's DC-3.
Papa Delta, contact point gate approach 124.7.
Or rather, C-47 I should say.
4.7, 437 Papa Delta.
Let's turn on the generators. Let's get
American
props to full.
3, contact Los Angeles 126.35.
Equipment approach Baron 437 Papa Delta 5000. 1720 Sierra Papa.
And got the throttles cracked. Let's get mixtures to auto rich. Those are on auto rich. And I'm flying in version 2 of Manfred Jahn's C-47 because version 3 beta doesn't have the cockpit night lighting yet. So that's the reason for me going with version 2. Alright, I think we're ready for engine start. Everything looks good. Got fuel pump on the right engine turned on. Let's turn on the passenger signs. Hit the starter for engine number 1.
Turn right on Bravo. Charlie 5 to grant. Let's see, have a good night.
Oscar 5 Alpha 7 and Bravo, Charlie 5. The ramp, Mexico 49.
And there's engine number 1 starting, or rather engine number 2.
Baron 37 Papa Delta level 5000.
Watch the RPMs rise, the oil pressure is rising.
2996
Number tower, Lancer 08, Delta Bravo, checking in inside Revo on the GPS runway 27.
Let's start engine number 1. Fuel pump is on.
Clear to land, runway 27.
Starter is engaged.
American 130, contact Los Angeles Center
Oh, I'm not sure why the starter turns off. Hey Twisted X, welcome to the stream.
American 11.
I've been flying on Flight Sim Economy for about a year maybe? Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a year and a half. Are you also on Flight Sim Economy?
For another aircraft, some calls on a frequency though, American 130.
Yeah, I really like Flight Sim Economy. I pretty much do all my flights on Flight Sim Economy these days.
I like that music.
Let us 8 Charlie Lake contact Josh approach 126.1.
126.1, Charlie Mike. Joshua approach, plus 128, Charlie Mike.
Oh, you're doing air hauler too? Yeah, I heard that's pretty good as well. Alright, Lumber, welcome to the stream. I'll give you an outside view so you can hear the engines. Let me turn the sound up on FSX.
Platus 128 Charlie.
There we go.
So I'm on 133.55 right now.
Okay, it's 42, I don't think I gave frequency change. Contact loss intercenter.
Yeah, what I like about Flight Sim Economy is that it's online, and then there's other people that are connected to it, so it's like a persistent world, kind of like a... that's funny, Lumber. Yeah, it's like a persistent world, kind of like a massive multiplayer online world. I like that multiplayer aspect of Flight Sim Economy. But I haven't tried air hauler myself.
Crossed on Avenue T1 3000, Ontario, outside of 2995.
For traffic 618.
Golf is just passing off your left side.
Oh, that's really cool.
You want me to cross where? At,
I'll have to take another look at air hauler too,
Echoes 42, 43.
if it's becoming more of a multiplayer environment.
we will cross Ghana at 13000.
Number tower, Lancer at 11 Bravo, clear runway 27, Charlie 2, we are going to the G apartment store.
Missouri Delta Bravo, Roger, Charlie to the ramp. I mean, this frequency as well.
Ramp, this frequency.
Lumber was asking if I was on a group, and I just responded in chat that I'm a part of DC-3 Airways virtual airline, but they're not really active on Flight Sim Economy. But I'm part of Chilkoot Air on Flight Sim Economy, but I don't really fly. I don't really fly with them anymore because you can't really make much money. The aircraft that I like to fly with them, you can't really make much money because they take a lot. They take a lot off the top.
American 1130, contact loss to Stretch 125.
What about you, Lumber? Are you part of a group in Flight Sim Economy?
25.9 for American 1130. Information Oscar.
Okay, so we got engine started, we got avionics on.
7 Papa Delta, mechanics of the virtual 34.2.
134.2, 7 up Delta 5
5 Quebec, walk you back.
Yeah, what's your group, Lumber? Yep, Twisted. I own a cat. I'm trying to pay off a Catalina, but eventually I want to sell it and buy a DC-3. That's my plan. Because I've been flying the DC-3 lately, and that's kind of my ride of choice these days. Alright, so I turned pilot edge comms off for a little bit. Let me show you guys where we're flying. We're going to be flying from Janesville in Wisconsin. VFR flight. I think there's some weather coming in from the west, so we're going to try to speed up this departure so that we can avoid it. And we're going to be flying south to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon over here. Small airport. Both of these are relatively small airports. So we're going to be following a series of VORs just because it's at night and it's hard to navigate by roads and stuff. So our cruise altitude is going to be 7,500 feet. and we're going to depart and head straight to the Rockford VOR, which is 110.8. I'll plug that in. Not receiving it yet, but we're going to be going on a 199 radial. Stealthworks Aviation. I'm going to look that up, Lumber. I'll look that one up and check you guys out. I'm not seeing it on the page. I'm not seeing it on all the on the group page, Lumber. Oh, I was saying, Twisted, that I own a Catalina, but I'm actually working to pay it off right now. I have it on a financing plan, and I'm almost done paying it off, but then I'm going to sell it right away so that I can work towards buying a DC-3. What kind of aircraft do you have, Twisted? Or you said you're not doing flight sim economy, but how does air hauler work? Do you also work towards buying aircraft and air hauler? Alright, so let's take a look at the airport diagram. And figure out where we are. Between runway 22 and 12, it looks like. Or 122 and 32 maybe. Yeah, between 22 and 32. So it looks like we are over here. Yeah, we're over here and we're facing away from the runways, so we're facing this way. So we're gonna turn around here and head on Delta and taxi to one of the active runways. So let's get the ATIS at Janesville. It's 128.25. Oh, it's a private group, I see. Oh wow, you own some serious aircraft, Twisted, in flight sim economy. That's pretty cool. Oh, okay. I see you now. Pretty cool, Lumber. Well, if you send me an invite, I'll join your group. I don't know how much I'll fly for it, but I'll join it. Oh, wow, Twisted. If you're, are you giving those? Are you giving those away? Because I don't have the money to pay for them. But if you're giving one of those aircraft away, I won't say no. But honestly, I want to work towards buying a DC-3, so all I do is just sell it and put that money towards buying a DC-3. Alright, let's get the ATIS. It's 128.25. Well, Twisted, that's awfully generous. I'll go with I'll go with the C-90. That's the one I would get most my most money for to put towards the DC-3. Wow, that's very generous, man. I appreciate it. Lumber's trying to sell as a group based on my communist roots, my Russian roots. I hear ya. Yeah, send me an invite and I'll join. Yep, I got it twisted. You are the man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. In fact, you're going to be my co-pilot for the flight. I've put you as my co-pilot for the flight. Officially. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. That's really awesome. That's going to help me out a lot in Flight Sim Economy. Oh, that's pretty cool, Lumber. It might be a reason for me to check out the PMDG DC-6. Okay, so we got the ATIS. Wow, Twisted, man. That's awesome. You're like Santa Claus today. You're giving out some tremendous Flight Sim Economy gifts. Kudos to you again. Thank you so much. Alright, so let's set our aircraft up for the flight. Going to be cruising at 7,500 feet. I'm not going to be using the GPS. I'm going to use it just for radios and navigation radios. I put it to the flight plan page so I can see where we're flying. That's usually how I fly this aircraft. I just use the VORs or navigate visually. Sometimes I use the GPS if I'm feeling inclined to it. Alright, let's run through the checklists. Twisted, you the man. Forgot to open up. One of the weird things with this aircraft is there's no cowl flap control inside the cockpit, so you have to open the cowl flaps manually with the keyboard keys. And then you have to see where they're located, where the cowl flaps are, what level they're at in this pop-up menu. Alright, I should start Flight Sim Economy up. It'd be kind of ironic if I forgot to start Flight Sim Economy with all this talk about FSE. So I've got to remove about 500 pounds. So let's go to the load master. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Please add 22 pounds. Payload is correct. Okay. So now our payload is correct. Let me start the DC-3 Airways ACARS program. That is off screen, so you won't be able to see that. Yeah, no, there's no... Usually the cowl flaps in the DC-3 are located right here. And they are in the version 3 beta model. But this was actually... This virtual cockpit is based on the Basler BT-67. So they just kind of modified it a little bit for the DC to make it the original DC-3. But since it's based on the Basler, it doesn't have the cowl flaps because it's got the turboprop engines, and there's other things that you can tell are from the Basler, like for instance auto feather. I don't think the DC-3 has an auto feather function. It's for the turboprop engines, so that's kind of one of the limitations of this virtual cockpit, but it still looks really nice and I still like using it for night operations. No, I'm not doing that beta one because it doesn't have the night lighting, and I want it to fly in real time. And yeah, the version 3 beta does have the cowl flap controls to the right. This is the version 2. Back to the checklist. Alright, we're ready to go. Let's pick a runway. So winds are coming out of the west. So we can either do the 3-2 or the 2-2 runway. Let's do the 3-2 runway. So I'm gonna turn around here and make a left on Delta, and then head over to the 3-2 runway. That's the plan. We've got 309 gallons of fuel. And our departure time 7:35 Los Angeles time. That's where I'm at. And let me just plug in the altimeter to 90901. And we're off. Taxiing, that is. Little nav map. Is that like an add-on utility? I'll have to check that one out. Whoa, where am I going? Where am I going? Just did a runway incursion. Where did I think I was? Oh, this is a runway. Oh, you know what? I think I may this. Here, let me get off of this runway and figure out what's going on. Maybe in this is the old FSX scenery, and maybe this this used to be a runway, but is now a taxiway. Let me figure out what's going on. So, between runway 22 and runway 32. Runway 36. Oh, they added a taxiway. Okay. So, they still have runway 36, but now they've got a taxiway going from, called Delta, going from runway 32 to runway, to crossing runway, or going to Alpha right here. So I don't have that in my scenery, that's why I did the runway incursion. But we're gonna go on and taxi on runway 36 and use that as a taxiway with our strobes and landing lights on. Because there's really, I guess I can get out by going on. Actually, there's no way to get out except for by using that runway. No way to get out from where I'm at. I'm gonna Google little nav map FSX. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out in more detail. Thanks for the tip, Twisted. Back taxi hype. Alright. So let's continue onwards. We're gonna have to do another 180 here. Let's turn on our strobes. Why am I having so much trouble taxiing this? I did 2 previous flights today, and I noticed that during the second one, this thing was accelerating a lot. I have to really watch my throttles when I taxi. So since this is a rough and rugged DC-3, I'm gonna, so that I'm not doing my run up on one of the runways, I'm gonna do my run up in this area right here on the grass. These DC-3s were built to go on such terrain. Man, Why isn't this thing stopping? Maybe something up with my brakes or something. I guess we're gonna have to run. I tried to stop before I got to the runway, but huh. My brakes are pretty much ineffectual. My rudder pedals are working, but my brakes are doing nothing. There's something up with that. Alright, sounds good, Lumber. I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you when you get home. I'll join your group if you send me an invite. Oh, you already did, so I've accepted. Alright, now I'm part of your group. Alright, let's do the run up really quick. RPM. Check the mags. So heat. Generators. Turn on hydraulic pumps. Oh, that's why the brakes weren't working. Because I didn't turn on my hydraulic pumps. It's good modeling. I was like, why are my brakes having no effect? Okay, so it's not a glitch. Let's exercise our props. Manifold pressure rise, oil pressure drop. That's good. I believe that's the way it should be. Landing lights are on. Strobe lights are on. Pitot heat can come on. And let's set our cowl flaps to be open halfway. Flaps 1/4. 1/4. Boost pumps are on. Tail wheel should be locked. Now it is. And our takeoff briefing, really quickly, we're going to be departing from Southern Wisconsin Regional Airport, runway 32. And we're going to be climbing out to 7,500 feet and heading on course 199 direct to the Rockford VOR. And everything else should be standard for the departure, and that's the departure briefing complete. Man, Twisted, you're the man. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that gift on Flight Sim Economy. That's really going to help me get my DC-3. Alright, let's note our takeoff time, departure time, 7:46, and I think we're ready to go. rotate, positive rate, gear up. Flaps up. Let's set climb power. 36 inches. And 2350 on the RPMs. And let's go direct to the Rockford VOR. I'll set pilot edge comms back on for some background ATC.
And my Papa is active in the Delta.
Papa, roger, frequency.
Biggest change of fluid rate, Papa.
So landing lights can come off. Our outside air temperature is plus 2 degrees, so I won't turn carb heat on quite yet. As we climb out, I'll watch the temperature. If it goes below freezing, I'm going to turn carb heat on. I have to make sure to stay out of the clouds. I can't tell if those are clouds ahead or not. I think they are actually, so we might have to go VFR, or you know what, let's stay below 3500 for now.
1720, Papa cleared after runway 24.
Because I think those are clouds up ahead. So I'm going to descend about 500 feet.
1720.
To cruise at 3500.
Alpha to the ramp.
Still hand flying here. Haven't turned on the autopilot yet. Let's do the after takeoff checks. Landing lights are off. And then we have cruise checks of mixture to auto lead and cowl flaps to be closed.
Center on the tower, legacy 9012 my Papa. 7 miles northwest and down to that. For the cap port.
913 Mike Papa, roger. There's a Skyline also around about 6 miles to the northwest. Do you have any insight?
So there's 3,500 feet. I'm gonna get back on the radial. Actually, let's just go direct.
692 Gulf, say altitude.
Altitude is 1,700.
Cheating a little, but I should pick a radial and stick with it.
Mike Papa, just pass on.
and not deviate from it. So let's do that. Let's try to stick on this radial.
Make straight over 1-2, looks like we'll overtake in on the 1-2 clear to land.
1-2 clear to land, straight and clear to land.
6182 Golf, Soul Legacy just passing off your left right now is 1,000 feet above the straight in for 1-2 as well. It'll be number 1, your number 2 for the field, runway 12 clear to land.
Number 2, clear to land on the gap, the visual on the Legacy 618 Golf.
Joey Tavern, 437 Papa to clear at Hotel, Texas West Ramp.
Delta Roger, Bravo to the ramp and remain this frequency.
Bravo to the ramp this frequency. Thanks for working. So Papa Delta. Have a good night.
You too.
So I'm going to put it on autopilot for now. We'll take a look at flight sim economy. Let me bring it up so you guys can see it on the screen. Just a second here. So here's Flight Sim Economy, and Twisted very generously gave me this Beechcraft King Air C90, and
Van Nuys clearance delivery, RZ58 Quebec. Request flight following.
where is it located?
John Wayne Airport via the southbound coastal.
It's located in Texas. Great. And let's see what the selling price is for the C90.
Van Nuys clearance. Let's see. Departure frequency 134.2.
Oops, went too far.
Departure frequency 134.2.
So they're selling for about 700,000. Wow, so that I could really put a dent in the DC-3. DC-3 sells for about 850,000. So I can pay off. I can sell the C90, pay off the Catalina that I'm currently leasing from Capital Aircraft Finance, and then get one of the Douglas DC-3s. That's really cool. That'll really help me out. Can't thank Twisted enough. It's very generous of you. Very nice Christmas gift. Yeah, so the DC-3s are selling for about 850,000. So that'll be really good. Alright, sky's looking clear up ahead, so I'm going to take it off of autopilot and continue my climb.
Santa Maria Towers, Skyline 612 Golf runway 12 vacated at 3:30.
6182 Golf, Roger, taxi alpha to the ramp and remain this frequency and also a pass in the cap.
Taxi to the Randy Alpha. Thank you for the cut. We'll remain on the frequency 6 minutes.
I wonder if we can get away with 5,500, because I can't those look like clouds up ahead, but I can't tell if they are. Maybe it's just the night sky pulling a trick on me or something. So we're almost at the Rockford VOR. So after the Rockford VOR, we're going to be passing over it and then flying at an outbound radial of 172 to get to our next waypoint. So I'll once we pass over Rockford, I'm going to put in a 172 on the HSI.
Las Vegas departure, King Air 4055,
Very right, Bravo to the terminal is frequencies.
Bravo to terminal is
4055, Las Vegas Bridge altimeter 3016, 501 request.
Yeah, those are definitely clouds. I'm not able to climb any higher, so that was a mistake. I should go back down to 3,500 feet. Although the weather forecast had no clouds, it had everything clear. At least at the airports that I was looking at. Yeah, we're definitely pretty close to some clouds. So back down to 3,500. I thought they had passed behind us, but apparently not.
Van Nuys ground, 5758 back, is that northeast?
So we're passing pretty close to the VOR,
Quebec Van Nuys ground, runway 3.
and I'm gonna set my course to be
Bravo Juliet.
172.
Runway 34 right, taxi via Bravo, Juliet, 5758 Quebec.
And there's the VOR coming back in. I shouldn't be descending this rapidly in a DC-3. You're supposed to descend at 500 feet per minute for passenger comfort. But I wanted to avoid those clouds, so... Welcome to the stream, guys. If you're just joining, I'm doing a flight in Manfred Jahn's DC-3 version 2. It's a night flight, as you can see, and we're flying from Wisconsin through Illinois down to southern Illinois.
Alpha 212 cross 20.
What's that over there? It looks like a factory. Yep, or like a nuclear plant or something. That's pretty cool.
This is remaining 7000, King Air 4055.
Flying a bit sloppily than I would like to. Hey Schism, welcome to the stream. Indeed, doing some night VFR. I'm not doing it very hardcore. I'm still using VORs for navigation, but if I was very hardcore, I'd be following roads and rivers and whatnot. But honestly, it's kind of hard to follow that in this part of the country because there are so many. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just coming up with excuses, but. When I was looking at the map, there were a lot of little roads, but nothing like big that not like a big, large highway that I could follow that was very prominent. So I'm using the VORs for navigation, but still flying VFR. Trying to avoid the clouds.
Santa Maria Tower. Legacy at 912 at Papa, holding short of 12, northeastern approach.
Alright, so now that we're at cruise, for now, I'm going to set cruise power to 30 inches of manifold pressure and 2050 on the RPM. Level out here, and cowl flaps can be closed. And what else? And we could put our mixtures to auto lean. Both on auto lean. And we're going to be flying on this course until the... what I could have done is I could have followed this highway right here, Highway 38, or rather 39. Then it becomes Highway 51. Then you get into the city. I guess I could have followed this highway all the way down, but I decided to do it, and then it ends right here, so I would have had to find some other roads to follow, or maybe these rivers. Yeah, it gets more complicated down here as we go south. But for now, we're looking for, after Rockford VOR, we're looking for Bloomington VOR.
Alright, we'll change now.
Bloomington VOR, which is going to be 108.2. What we're going to do is we're going to put it into our nav2 radio, so that we have an idea of when it's going to be coming in.
Santa Maria departure, Lancer 912 Papa, is about 8 miles.
So we're not receiving it quite yet.
Santa Maria passing 5,000 or 6,500. Quebec flight following.
I'm really having trouble keeping it straight and level. I gotta be at 3,500, not at 3,000.
Santa Barbara Bush Legacy 912 Papa is crossing 6,000 for 6,500, about 10 miles northeast of Santa Maria, flight following to Baker Street.
Exceed 913 Mike, Papa, Santa Barbara approach, 2240 ident.
2240 ident. Papa.
Nice tower, 575 Quebec, slowly short at 1.34 right.
575 Quebec, Van Nuys Tower left, turn on course.
DC-3 Mike, Papa, creator contact, 13 miles northeast of Guadalupe VOR, Santa Barbara altimeter 299.
So I'll set the the nav2 to sound to be identified when it comes in, when that frequency is being picked up by your aircraft. That way it'll notify me once we can switch over to the second VOR. And we'll do that, let's see, we're going to be flying about, oh wow, 105 nautical miles between these two VORs, so at about 50 52 nautical miles or so, I'll switch from one VOR to another.
Santa Barbara approach, steering copper will be leaving the cockpit for just a minute.
Roger, Mike Papa Roger.
Okay, we're back on the radial. Looks like we have to do some wind correction. So I'm going to fly a heading about 10 degrees to the right of our course.
Yeah, good evening, John. We learned some to departure destination.
And we can turn off our seatbelt signs so passengers can walk around.
Santa 1 warning.
Here 055, flight heading 340.
340 King Air 4055.
Oh, there's a little airport down below. Tiny little airport. There's the runway. Very small field.
Here 055, turn on heading 4.
I wonder what field that is.
Join the currency level for
We're at approximately 28 DME. Could be any of these fields right here. Butler Hill, Objectionable, Dunn, Bresson.
Thank you.
There's a lot of small little fields in this area.
Here 055, miles from Champaign, 5,000 to an altitude of 11, that allows for 2,000 approach.
Indeed. There's a few fields that have funny names that I've seen, like really small fields, the private fields, that have pretty funny names. There's a few in California. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember seeing their names and thinking like, what? Who came up with this?
Contact departure 1575.
5000 until establish a localizer, King Air 4055.
SoCal departure 1575 in Quebec is headed towards coastal route 1575 Quebec.
You guys on 5 in Quebec for departure radar contact. Maintain VFAR, remain outside Los Angeles Bravo airspace. And report established close 5,500 north of Santa Pass.
Remain clear of class Bravo airspace. Report 5,500 at Sepulveda Pass. That's it.
So what I like to do when I sell aircraft on Flight Sim Economy, and Twisted just gifted me an aircraft on Flight Sim Economy so that I can sell it to get the DC-3. I like to find a livery for it online that somebody has made, and then see if that livery is available as a registration on Flight Sim Economy. That way I can try to get a little bit of a higher selling price for the aircraft if somebody sees the livery and they're like, oh, I really like how that looks. And I try to find like a really nice livery that somebody has made, and then I use that registration to register the aircraft under that name, and then I try to sell it, and I try to do like a really nice post on the forums showing the photos of the livery and saying, oh hey, get this car not a registered aircraft. And yeah, I've sold a few aircraft that way on Flight Sim Economy. It's a great community. I do like flying on Flight Sim Economy. Although I will check out Air Hauler too, upon Twisted's recommendation. So it looks like we're finally leveled out, dead on 3,500 feet, and centered on the radial.
409.9, KJVL 059. Los Angeles Town, looking at 9944, 055 at Shannon.
Here, 055, you're still in Vegas Bridge.
SoCal departure with 575 in Quebec is at 5,500, coming up on Sepulveda Pass.
Vegas Town, working at 055 at Shannon.
355, Christian 55, Quebec, passing for the first one for 40 later.
So there's some news with Pilot Edge. They're coming out with some expansion fields. It's called the Western Expansion. And they're going to have a series of fields that are always staffed, then a few rotating fields. Here, let me put the aircraft on autopilot and pull up the map. So these are the different airports. The ones in blue are going to be always staffed, and you're going to have to pay an additional extra for if you want to use these fields, which makes sense because they need extra controllers to staff them. And then the yellow ones are going to be on a rotating basis. One of the drawbacks of this expansion is that San Francisco used to be available as one of the airports in the base package, where you pay $20 a month and you get all the SoCal airspace and then plus San Francisco. But now it's only going to be available with the Western Expansion package. So that's one of the drawbacks, but it's pretty cool that they're expanding. I think it's a good thing. I'm going to take the aircraft off of autopilot and fly it by hand again. See if we can go any higher. I don't see any clouds up there, but it's deceptive. Like once I start climbing, then I start seeing the clouds. I've already done that once. Just trying to see above the cockpit. No clouds above us now. So let's try climbing again. Oh, there's the nav 2 just came in. We're going to be hearing it identified in a second here.
Departure, fly ahead Roger, frequency 128.1, squawk 4520.
So let's hear the identification symbol. It should be dash dot 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 dash dash dot dot.
Alexander Light Pursuit and Papa, are we getting Baker Studios approach?
There we go. That's identified.
Papa, Delta switching to
498 Bunch Charlie, reads
now
accurate.
118 say it.
So we're currently on a course of 172. Let's see how close. Yep. It's pretty close. Just a little bit off center.
Baker should approach Legacy 1110 Papa, 20 miles southwest of Baker.
So we're gonna enter a very gradual climb to 7,500 feet. I'm pretty much gonna stay at this power setting, just climb at 500 feet per minute. Maybe I'll boost power just by a little bit. Oh heck, why not just go full climb power? I didn't want to open up the cowl flaps, but I guess it's not a big deal. Let's open up those cowl flaps to halfway. Right here you can see I'm opening them up. That should be good.
So that's about 440 flag line. Where are you parking?
King Air 055, we are clear.
So we're at 50 nautical miles DME from our first VOR. Let's switch over to our second VOR, which is the Bloomington VOR. We've already identified it. And let's go direct on a course of 170. Still gonna correct for the wind a little bit. See if this 15-degree correction will be enough. Let's steepen our climb a little bit to about 1,000 feet per minute. Any clouds in sight? No, no more clouds. So I think like a whole series of clouds were coming in from the west, and now the field that we took off from has clouds above it, according to SkyVector. So I think we just outran the clouds. They're coming in from the northwest and we're heading south, so we're just about outrunning them. And as we climb, I gotta remember to boost my manifold pressure, because we lose manifold pressure as we climb. So we're just approaching 6,500 feet and 1,000 more to go. How's everybody doing tonight in chat? Indiana Center's online. I wonder if we're probably in Chicago Center territory, but I wonder if there is a slight possibility where no. Not quite in Indiana Center's area. Yeah, our area is covered by Chicago Center. The airspace that we're in right now. Unfortunately, Chicago Center is not online.
Bakersfield targeting into a left base runway 30 right to your clear land.
Left base 30 right base left.
Oh, cool, Schism. Well, sorry to hear that you couldn't sleep, but sounds like an early start to your day. That's nice sometimes. Let's get a jump start on work in the morning.
Charlie, John Wayne ground runway 20 right at Kilo, taxi via Bravo.
It's very studious of you. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm much more productive in the mornings. Although not that early. I don't know. I should try. I should try getting up at 5 a.m. and seeing if I can work that early. But I usually get up around 7.
Bakersfield Tower 2, have I confirmed that left base was 30 right?
I may try that tonight. Maybe I'll go to sleep extra early and wake up really early. See how that works.
And 395 on lost.
So we're level at 7,500 feet. We've got.
We'll try to make it in with our GPS.
We've got our cruise power set. Call flaps can be closed, and it's back to cruise.
Charlie at 4520 works. 4520.
Yeah, I work from home as well currently, and I just do 9 to 5. Yeah, I hear that, Schism. But I can't take a nap in the afternoon. If I take a nap in the afternoon, it's going to turn into like a 3-hour nap. Then my workday is shot. So I just try to work straight from 9 to 5. But waking up and starting work early, it's an interesting proposition. I may have to try that tonight. That's right, Schism. Yeah, like a power nap is the happy medium. If it's beyond 30 minutes, then you go into full sleep mode. That's true. It's very true. I put it on autopilot for a bit here. I'll show you guys on my flight sim economy what I'm doing on the flight. So we've got 26 passengers on this flight. We rented the DC-3 obviously, and it's $800 an hour for the DC-3. That's about an average price for renting it. That's why I want to buy one. and take it to California, or buy one that's already in California. That's where I do most of my flying, but sometimes, like lately, I've been wanting to branch out and fly other places as well around the United States. But that's what we're doing. We're doing a 26 passenger job in Flight Sim Economy right now, and that's the maximum capacity of the DC-3 in Flight Sim Economy is 26 passengers. That's quite the wind correction angle. I'm gonna take it off of autopilot again. Continue my hand flying. Now that Twisted has helped me in a large part, gonna help me pay off my DC-3, I think I'll fly for Lumber's group and help them out with a DC-6 with some of my jobs, because I don't have any other expenses. My goal was to get the DC-3, pay off the Catalina, and get the DC-3 in Flight Sim Economy, and Twisted has helped me a lot in getting that goal. So I think for now I just have one FBO that I support, so I just have to make sure I have enough money for supplies for that FBO, and then I can spend my flights helping out Lumber with his DC-6. So that's the plan. If you joined the stream late, Twisted gave me an aircraft on Flight Sim Economy, and then Lumberhacks, who was in here earlier, who's a friend of mine on Twitch, he invited me to join his group on Flight Sim Economy, so I did that as well. And he's working towards purchasing a DC-6 in that virtual environment. Let's take a look at the map again. So after Bloomington, we're going to continue our southward journey. A couple more VORs to go after that.
45758 Quebec, I see the traffic in sight. I'm not familiar with the area of Miles Park.
Winnie Traffic Road, you know where Huntington Beach Pier is? You're pretty much headed straight for it.
Correct, Huntington Beach Pier, 45758 Quebec.
Traffic Quebec, just proceed toward Huntington Beach Pier.
Proceed towards Huntington Beach Pier, 5758 Quebec.
You know, I think Flight Sim Economy is more what you make from it. There are like micro communities within Flight Sim Economy. I think the basis is, of course, the software. That's like an online persistent world of aircraft that you can buy and jobs that you can fulfill by flying different flights. And it connects to your flight simulator and allows you to track your different flights and make money, and also manage your financial resources and purchase aircraft and sell aircraft to other players. So it's like a persistent economy. But like if you're on Pilot Edge, there's quite a few people that fly on Flight Sim Economy, so there is a community aspect of it as well. and they have a fairly well used forum, so you can interact with people on the forums as well. So I think it's kind of both, but the basis is the software for sure.
Take it for example, I could see 911 being on top of the Cat 6 plus traffic advisories to Mojave at 7,500.
SoCal approach 575 Quebec is at
And like Twisted was saying earlier, there's kind of like a competition, or there's an emerging competitor, which is Air Hauler 2. I think they're looking to do a similar multiplayer concept, but I have to read up more about that. But it's really kind of changed the way I fly in Flight Sim. It kind of incentivizes me to look for airports that I normally wouldn't fly in. It gives me a goal, for instance, purchasing a certain aircraft.
John Wayne Tower 575 Quebec. It's 5 miles to the west. 1,300 feet inbound to land approach 575 Quebec.
575 Quebec, only targeting right down.
And of course, there's definitely the community aspect with groups. So Flight Sim Economy has groups, and if you join a group, like for instance, one of the most active ones that I was a part of for a little while was called Chilkoot Air, and they do a lot of community flying together. They're very active. They have like a forum of sorts. They use a program called Slack, and they interact with each other on a daily basis and just kind of chew the rag, so to speak, and talk with each other very often. And it's all based around Flight Sim Economy jobs and working towards common goals and helping out the group and whatnot. So there's that aspect of it too.
Leadership legacy another one being on top of is that the flight school for the weather ready to tax.
I don't know if my top page right that's right on Robert.
Off Robert 30 right to the
So what are we approaching here? We're approaching Bloomington Normal. One of my friends went to university there, actually, in this college town, and that's where Bloomington VOR is. And we're going to be going in a course of 173 after passing overhead Bloomington.
take a short round. Legacy being on top of how we get back into the closure.
Through my top certain your seat of the line echo is behind you now. You just passed Delta.
Just adjusting doing some fine adjustments to my manifold pressure. Okay, now we're bang on 30 inches. Schism, do you do Flight Sim yourself? Do you fly in FSX or X-Plane?
Take a short tower. Legacy another one being on top of holding share of Echo runway 30 right.
Through my top of Field Tower, runway 30 right at Echo Quiver, takeoff with 36 runway 6.
John Wayne Tower 575 Quebec.
Vectors 10 under 08 is runway 20 right clear.
Runway 20.
St. Louis approach is online. Let's see if... No, I don't think we'll... Yeah, Mount Vernon is outside of St. Louis approach area, so we won't talk to them either.
Take a short tower. Legacy being on top of just making sure. Can you give us a turn on course?
Return courses.
A long-time observer of flight gear. Well, you know what? They have... I think... Do they have X-Plane for Linux? Let me look into that. Yeah, I think you can install X-Plane into Linux. From what I found in my oh, okay. So you used to fly in Flight Simulator 9. That's cool. Yeah, I started with Flight Simulator 9. I flew the DC-3 there too. Quite a bit. I have some videos on YouTube of that.
Copy, contact Bakersfield approach 118.
118. Copy. Bakersfield departure, legacy 913 Papa crossing 2100 for 7,500.
Ah, I see. So X-Plane is available for Linux, but some of the add-ons are not.
XP9013 my Papa. Bakersfield departure radar contact. Bakersfield altimeter 3003, maintain B5.
Make empty departure like that.
Gotta resist the urge to chase the VOR needle. Just pick a heading and fly it. As we get close, overhead Bloomington VOR. Okay, we're passing overhead the VOR, and we're going to set my course to 173. Only a slight adjustment.
Bakersfield departure came Papa departure. We're in and out of IFR till about 3,700, but it's all clear.
Renata 13 my Papa, thank you.
Flight gear is like owning a classic car. It can be fragile and it takes a lot of time to keep it going. You know, flight gear is kind of has been off of my radar, but you know, I'll look into that. It's not really streamed that I've seen that often on Twitch. I'll do some more research into flight gear. Just opened up a window on my Google Chrome to remind myself of it. I've tried it way back when. I tried it like maybe, I don't know, 7 years ago or something. I don't even know if it was around back. I don't remember when I tried it, but I tried it a while ago and didn't really like it too much. But I wasn't into civil aviation at the time, so maybe I didn't fully appreciate it. So do you like the freeware concept of flight gear? Is that what attracts you to that project? Kind of like open source freeware?
Taxi on Bravo to the ramp. Passing Captain, thank you. 4575 Equal.
Oh, very cool. Schism says he's an engineer and likes to see how things work on the inside. of
81 Charlie,
a flight simulator.
pressure 135.1.
Fair enough.
35.4 flying out Charlie. Yeah, so Cal approach commands flying with traffic level 6,000.
Port Henry Metro Pacific for Ontario on
Zero 9 or 6 Bravo for the ground.
Well, that ground meeting is Bravo general aviation parking request cancel itself.
I'm gonna give myself a break from hand flying and put it on autopilot for a few minutes. And let's do an exterior flyby view.
Zero 9 or 6 Bravo, Roger, remain for taxi.
9,500 for sure.
Actually, out to the tweet before that.
Can't really see it too well because it's nighttime. Well, that's pretty cool, Schism. Are you a computer engineer? I think that's supposed to be the Milky Way behind the aircraft. Software and electronics engineer. Very cool. Keeps it interesting to move around, indeed. I work in marketing and I do a little bit of everything myself. I work for a smaller company, so I have to wear a lot of hats.
124.55.
There you go.
Josh approach. Good day, by just another one from our top is at 9,500 direct from hop.
Luxie 9013 Papa Joshua.
Well, that tower is there for the 096 Bravo, ready to go runway 84.
0 9 or 6 Bravo, roger left turn out approved, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
Yeah, I hear you, Schism. It's
Clear for takeoff.
it's always good to continue growing, to continue kind of the life of the mind, and always be learning something new, like you said. I'm all about that myself. Hey Lumber, welcome back to the stream. We are en route. We just passed overhead about 5 minutes ago, past Bloomington normal. It's a place in Illinois. And we are about right here on our flight, so just past the halfway point. Yeah, just a little less than halfway to go. And now we're looking for our next VOR, which is going to be... I think it's adders. I can't really tell. The little symbol is far away from the actual where the VOR is drawn. The label, I should say, is far away from where the VOR is drawn. So I'm guessing that's 117.2 adders that we need. Oh, I can check on my flight plan. Yeah, that's the one that we need.
Usually they have the inner right downwind runway 26 so we'll be going to the airport on a kind of easterly heading.
Yep, we just got the airport inside.
Then my Papa Rider, couple more miles I'll switch it out.
Sounds good.
Oh, didn't want to do that. I wanted to put it into VOR 2. 117.2. Okay, we're picking that up, and oh, we're pretty much dead on. Course of 173. Okay, so the DME for that is 18 DME, so we can switch over now. Put it into nav mode.
Legacy fueling help us coming down to 5,500.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn on flight sim. It's like once you get the basics down of stick and rudder flying, which in and of itself is simple to learn but really hard to master. I still like to work on my stick and rudder skills. I say that, of course, as I have the aircraft on autopilot, but I do like hand flying and practicing maneuvers and all kinds of procedure turns and whatnot. And then, of course, you have, once you learn the basics, you have VFR flying and then IFR flying, and then emergency operations. You can delve deep into weather patterns and airspace and different aircraft of different time periods and learn to fly those. There's just it's a whole big world of flight sim. Very versatile. It's like you get the base game like FSX or X-Plane, but within it what you can do, I think it rivals any other game about how versatile you can make your experience in-game. Especially with the historical aspect. Yeah, I hear you, Lumber. Stick and rudder in the simulator is very different from real life, but you can still like practice flying straight and level. You can practice your turns and coordination. I think it really helps. I think it really helps in real life flying. At least it did for me. Because when I get into an aircraft in real life, like when I fly with Disgraced Pilot, I feel a lot more comfortable than I would otherwise if I didn't practice in simulator all the time. Another one of those situations where if I was in a fighter plane right now, I'd just dive down and buzz that runway. Because we're flying exactly on course with that runway. But alas, we are in a DC-3. It's not the aircraft for that. So our next VOR is going to be Mount Vernon VOR, which is right here, right next to our airport of arrival. And that VOR is 113.8. Schism, I don't have a private pilot's license, but I fly with one of my friends that I met on Twitch. His handle name is Disgraced Pilot. He's a real life private pilot, so we go flying sometimes, and that's where I have the real life experience. He lets me get behind the controls and do the turns and level flight. He doesn't let me land or take off rightly. I wouldn't want to, because I'm not trained. Even though I probably could do it, but I wouldn't. It's not right without me having had enough lessons to feel comfortable doing it in real life. Oh, Lumber, you're gonna do ATP school. That's fantastic. I didn't know that. That's really awesome, man. So, what program are you gonna do? Congratulations, by the way. Gonna set identification for nav2 so that I know when it comes in. But we're still a ways away, so we won't be able to pick it up for a while. Yeah, school-wise, which like school, which program did you get into, or are you gonna do? We're just about to pass overhead the VOR. Which one is this? I forget already. Adder's VOR. And we're going to take an outbound course of 175. Oh, okay. I've heard of that one. The ATP school. What's going on here? Sorry, I thought my internet went out. Oh, it's just Apple asking me to update its software. Anyways, I've heard of that school. I've always seen ads for it on on AdSense when I go to pilotegg.com or some other aviation sites. They always have ads for it. That's really cool. And don't they have like a program with regional airlines? I did a little bit of reading up on them as well when I was considering becoming a pilot myself. Don't they have like a program with regional airlines where they have a relationship and they can hook you up with a job, or maybe the airline will actually help pay for a certain amount of your schooling? Because I know the regionals are really hurting for pilots right now. This is a really good time to get into aviation, so so they say. Like pilots and people in the industry say that the regionals are really hiring right now. Hopefully the pilot benefits will increase with this increased demand for pilots. Hopefully they'll pay them better at the regional level and give them better benefits, because it's a long and difficult road for a pilot until they get to the big airlines. You have to go through a lot of schooling, a lot of hours of flying, pay for those hours of flying, and then you get a job at a regional airline that doesn't pay very well. But it's worth it if you love to fly and you can get through that. It's really worth it. Oh, you want to do cargo flying? So, nighttime flying, just like I'm doing right now. What kind of aircraft do you want to fly, Lumber? Like, what's your top pick for an aircraft? Or are you kind of open to anything? I want to take it off of autopilot, do some hand flying again. So 82 nautical miles, so I'm going to start looking for ATIS about halfway through that. So at about 41 DME, I'm going to look to switch over to the Mount Vernon VOR, then start planning my approach and descent, my descent and approach, and yeah, getting the ATIS as well. So that is the plan. The DC-6, that is the dream. Well, you want to fly Averts Air Cargo or something in up in Alaska, or does Ameriflight fly the DC-6 too? I'm not familiar with that airline. All I know is that Averts Air Cargo flies the DC-6. I've got one of the Just Planes DVDs about the DC-6 with the Averts Air Cargo. It's in my shelf behind me. And that's how I know about that air cargo hauler.
Ground even runway 20 left at Kilo, thanks. Alpha Hotel Charlie.
Okay, taxi Alpha Charlie, hold short 20 left on Kilo, 2
Oh, that'd be great, flying one of these vintage warbirds, like the DC-6 or the... Well, I guess DC-6 is more of a commercial airliner, even though I'm pretty sure they had a military version of it too, but flying these vintage aircraft like the DC-3 or the DC-6. I like to watch Ice Pilots. That's a good show for Ice Pilots NWT. They show a lot of those vintage aircraft, the C-47, the DC-3. That's what actually inspired my recent interest in the DC-3, was watching that show. Oh, okay. I'm totally wrong about Ameriflight. Averts is the dream. Settle flying for 747s for Atlas. Do you... I think I might have asked you this before, but do you listen to the Airline Pilot Guy podcast? I think one of the contributors Although he's not on recently because he's been busy flying 747s, but I think he flies 747s for Atlas, if I'm not mistaken. The C-40 Skymaster is the military designation. Okay. For the DC-6. So we're passing a waterway over here to our left. Just wondering what that is in the map. Let's see how well Orbex vector portrays it. Oh, there we go. That looks pretty accurate. This waterway next to Shelbyville. You can see off my left wing. I think that Orbex vector did a good job of rendering that.
Thank you.
Ah, I hear you, Lumber. Are you looking to do flight instructing after you get your instructor certification? I know ATP has different different trajectories to go and different plans and programs. Are you looking to be a flight instructor for a while to get more hours, or does ATP cover a lot of the hours that you need for the commercial license?
Oceanside, glide pipe cover. Departure frequency 13.1, score 3612, roll 17 above. So it's just your property back there.
There's the second VOR coming in, Mount Vernon. Let's identify it. So it should be ... dash dot. There we go, it's identified. Oh, okay. I see how they do that. Yeah, that's good advice, Schism. You should really do what you love. That's it's one of the keys to a happy life, in my opinion.
172 Sierra Papa Joe Mike ground on 20 left deck, Kilo.
Taxi to the runway 2 to the left, taxi back Alpha, hold to Jahn, and Kilo to Sierra Papa.
Yeah, Lumber, you're a natural. I was really impressed that one time when we had the helicopter contest, and you beat Helipilot. I was really impressed with that, because Helipilot's a real world helicopter pilot, and he flies that 407. He flew that 407 for quite a while, and you still managed to beat him in the helicopter contest. So I think you're a natural stick. So still looks like a clear sky. Just the stars that I can see, no clouds in sight. That's good for us since we're VFR. And our course is 172. So we've got about 8 more miles to go before we switch over to the next VOR. And that'll be our final VOR. It'll take us into yeah, it'll take us into Mount Vernon. And we'll plan our approach. I don't think that Mount Vernon Airport has any instrument approaches, so yeah, well, we're VFR anyway, so we'll just get the weather, pick one of the runways, and land there. So Lumber, you're saying, what do you mean by no interest in the commercial side of things? You mean like the airlines, that you want to do cargo rather than airlines? Is that what you mean? When you say that you're limiting yourself? And if so, what draws you to cargo? I'm just curious. Ah, I see. You don't want to go the regional route. That's understandable. It is quite a slog. So with a cargo trajectory, you'd start off with like you mentioned, like a feeder airline, and you fly maybe like Cessna Caravans or something until you work your way up to bigger aircraft. Is that how it works? Like conceivably, what aircraft would you start flying? Like they wouldn't put you in like a 747 cargo right away. You'd have to do some feeder routes probably, right? Ameriflight is single pilot, so that's single pilot operation. So those have to be smaller aircraft, right? Like a Caravan size aircraft, Cessna Caravan. Alright, so we're at 41 DME. Let's I'm gonna put the aircraft on autopilot because we're gonna be planning on the approach and whatnot. So let's put it on heading mode actually while we switch over. Got 113.8. Just double check that that's the right frequency. Yep, 113.8. So let's plug that into our nav1 radio. Let's go direct to that VOR. Oh wow, Air flight starts in a Piper Navajo. Interesting. I didn't know they did cargo in a Piper Navajo. I'm not too familiar with the aircraft, but I imagine it's like a GA aircraft. Beech 1900 and a Metroliner. Work your way up to the 1900. Oh, very cool. Yeah, thanks for posting that, Schism. Steve-O Knievo. Yeah, he's got a great YouTube channel, I agree. And he does the TBM 850 flights. Yeah, he's got a really nice channel. I enjoy watching those videos. And the production quality on those videos is very high too. Alright, so we're gonna be coming in to Mount Vernon. Let me check if there's an diagram. Yep, there's an airport diagram. Whoops. Just exited the window for a second. 113.8 is our weather, our AWOS. So let's get that. How do we get 113.8 for the AWOS? Is that like a military? That's weird, because our radio only goes to 118. It doesn't go below 118, so how can I put on 113.8? It's a mystery to me. There's something I'm not understanding here. The frequency is 113.8 for the weather. Anyways, let's get the weather the easy way from just using sky vector. So winds are 260, 5 knots. 260 at 5. -3 for the temperature. And altimeter is 3014. So I'm going to put in I'm going to put in 3014. Lumber, you seem drawn to the real aircraft that you really have to fly, that don't just fly for you. That's pretty cool. Yeah, those are the kind of aircraft I like in the sim as well. Although on occasion I do enjoy flying the 737 NG, I won't lie. Alright, so let's figure out our top of descent. We're 28 nautical miles away now. Airport elevation is about 500 feet, so we need to be at 1500 feet, so we need to lose 6,000 feet. That's 12 minutes of flying at 500 feet per minute, so we'll go about 24 nautical miles. So we can actually start our descent right now. We're 27 nautical miles out. We can start at 24 nautical miles out, but I want to do it and start a little bit early. Lumber is after the adventure. That's cool, man. That's really admirable, in my opinion, to fly those to fly the aircraft like a DC-6. That'll be a handful and an adventure, that's for sure. Alright, so yeah, let's put in our new altitude of 1,500 feet. Let the aircraft descend at 500 feet per minute. That's funny, Lumber. Old pilots telling you shouldn't become a pilot when they themselves have like 30,000 hours. Okay, so we're on our way down, and let's take a look at the descent checklist. I don't think there's a lot on there, but just in case. Altimeter, we've set that. Fuel quantities look sufficient. Carb heat is not required, and rate of descent is 500, so that is the descent checklist complete. So let's plan our approach. So the winds are out of the west, so let us pick the... Let me open up the airport chart in another tab. Let's land on the 2-3 runway. The 2-3 runway. And so we'll fly to the VOR. Actually, heading straight for the VOR will put us in a nice 3-mile final to the airport. So that'll be good. We have about 6,500 feet of runway. Airport elevation is 500 feet approximately. And we're going to do a straight into runway 23 hand-flown approach. And what else do I need to brief? In case of an overshoot, we'll make left traffic. And since the winds are pretty light, we'll do full flaps, even though these things are like barn doors in the aircraft, and it becomes a little bit hard to control with full flaps, but we'll give it a go. And de-icing I don't think will be required. Yeah, we should be fine. So that's the approach briefing complete. Hey Lumber, is it pretty competitive to get into the cargo feeder airlines? So 16 divided by 2, that's 8 divided by 2, that's 4. Drop 4,000 from 6,000, that's 2,000. Okay, I think we're okay on the descent. I'm just trying to figure out whether I should increase the rate of descent or not. I might just... You're supposed to only go about 700 feet per minute on the descent for passenger comfort in a DC-3, but I'll bump it down to 700 feet per minute. Let's put the seatbelt sign on. Landing lights can come on. Mixtures to auto rich. Oh, I forgot to... No, they're auto lean. Never mind. I thought I forgot to set them to auto lean, but I did set them to auto lean after climbing. Now they're on auto rich. Everything else looks good. So approach checklist will be next. Yeah, regional flight in Europe would be an adventure in and of itself. Go visit a lot of different countries. Oh, okay. So the feeder airlines are relatively easy to get into. They have a high turnover rate. It's got its own challenges though. You know, the night flying, you have to really be on a night schedule, and it's hard to have a family too. At least from the documentary about fright dogs that I saw, they say some of the pilots said it was hard to have a family on that schedule. So, aircraft DC-3 calls for descent at 20 inches of manifold pressure, and we're doing that 700 foot per minute descent. We've got about 2,000 more feet to go, and we're 8 nautical miles away from the VOR. Going pretty fast, even with the throttle pulled back. We're at about 152 knots. Ah, I see lumber. Yeah, you really have to devote yourself to aviation if you want to be a fright dog. That's what it seems like to me, at least. And I can just make out the glimmer of the runway. There we go. See the runway lights. I'm not sure what those lights are called, the ones that lead you to the runway, maybe approach lights. I'm not sure what the official name is. And let's put in our runway 23. That's what's the course there? It's 231 magnetic. Oh, whoops. Forgot I was on navlog mode. So that is the runway that we need. I'm going to take the aircraft off of autopilot now. Let's open up our cowl flaps. Halfway. Let's lower our landing gear. May have to catch up with chat in a little bit here as I plan my approach and landing. Got to focus on that. And we'll make a left-hand turnout because the terminal and everything is on the left-hand side from runway relative to runway 23. And let's get one notch of flaps. Oh, I see lumber. Alright, let's go full propellers to full RPM. Carb heat is off. Landing lights are on. Fasten seatbelt signs are on. And that's the approach checklist complete. As we roll out on final, put flaps to 3/4. I don't think there are PAPI lights at this airport. More or less stabilized in the approach. At least better than I usually do. If you can believe that. And let's cut the throttle. Couple of bounces, not too bad. Let's let the tail come down. There we go. And now we can get on our brakes, tap those softly. Flaps come up. Tail wheel lock off. Thanks, Schism. I appreciate it. Ah, missed that exit. Didn't slow down in time. Let's get the next one. Turn off pitot heat. Thanks, Lumber. (9:30) for our landing time. Oh, is there a spot for us up ahead? I think we're too big for that spot. Hey Lumber, do you stream the DC-6? I don't think I've ever seen you stream the PMDG DC-6. I'm assuming that's the one that you fly. That'd be pretty cool to see. Not a lot of people stream it these days. Crossing a runway here. Look left, look right. Still have our strobes on. Let's park somewhere over here. Turn those strobes off. And there looks like there's a spot for us right there. I'm next to the fuel pump, so we gotta watch out. I'm not going to put on my parking brake because otherwise FSC may see me get refueled and not credit me for that flight. So I'm just going to turn the engines off, and that's how I'll get credit for the flight. Alright, turn off all our landing lights. Turn off the seatbelt sign. Ah, I see. Yeah, I think you should still stream it. I know Aerosym Gaming streams that late at night too, but it'd be fun to see you fly the DC-3, in my opinion. Alright, turn off the fuel pumps. Turn off the hydraulic pumps. Although that may release my brakes. Yeah, never mind. Keep those hydraulic pumps on. There we go. That wasn't smart. And let's turn off our avionics. Reset those. Turn off the GPS. Avionics can come off. And we can cut our engines. Let's note the time. Alright. Hey, that'd be cool, Lumber. I'd watch that. Yeah, whatever, a 210 flight or a DC-6, whatever you feel like doing. That'd be cool. I'd hop into your stream. Alright, let's turn off the generators. Hydraulic pumps can come off now. Oh, I had ground power on. Dang it. I like to note when I make mistakes. I count how many mistakes I make per flight, so I try to reduce that figure. Gives me something to work towards. Beacon nav lights can come off. Panel lights can come off. What else can we turn off here? That can all be set down. Cabin light can come off. And battery light can come off. And here we are. Cool, Lumber. That sounds good. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this awesome flight, and big thank you to